Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network. For the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews, press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Congratulations. On behalf of the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the Schmoes know, you are now a member of the Jedi Alliance. May the Force be with you. Always.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said to R2-D2, hello there, and welcome to Jedi Alliance, a celebration of the greatest saga ever told. I'm your host this week. My name is Joseph Scrimshaw. My co-host Mark Donica is not here, sadly, but he will be back next week. We've got a really great show for you today. We are going to be talking all about the film Rogue One, all of our secret deep desires, wishes, suspicions, fears, concerns, and other related emotions. We've got a great panel of guests today. We've got some returning guests. We have Mr. Tony Thaxton.
Hello.
And we have JTE.
What's up, everybody? Ready to talk some Star Wars.
And we have a brand new guest to the show, Audrey Kearns.
Hello.
Excellent. Audrey, starting with you, can you tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Audrey Kearns. I am the creator and editor-in-chief of Geek Girl Authority. We're a pop culture website that kind of tends to lean towards the geeky. I am the host of an interview podcast called Kneel Before Odd. And yes. And I am a co-host of a podcast, a debate-style podcast called Polecats. And I'm also the creator and co-host of Five Truths and Lies storytelling show, which Joseph has been a part of.
Yeah, it's a great podcast.
Where we get 6 people to tell a story on one theme and one person's lying, and also a writer and actor. That's me.
That's plenty. That's good.
Wow.
Yeah. Tony, can you tell people a little bit? You were just on a couple weeks ago on our Bounty Hunter Bash episode.
It's true. Yes, people can find me there. I do lots of things. I'm a musician. I used to play in a band called Motion City Soundtrack for a long time. And I do a year-round Christmas-themed podcast called Feliz Navi Pod. It's very stupid.
It is very awesome. And when you record in Tony's home, you get to see all of his action figures.
It's true. There's quite a bit. And it's scaled down a little bit, and there's still way too many.
I understand. And JTE, of course, people know you from Schmoes Know. You're on that show as the famous intern. Is that?
Yeah, JTE, creator of my Facebook and my Twitter. I don't have as many accolades as these guys. Very impressed. But yeah, I just talk movies and Star Wars. If you're a movie lover, Star Wars is part of your love for movies, no matter where you're at. If you don't like Star Wars, I don't think you're a true movie lover, in my opinion.
Interesting. See, I was very curious to have you on the show because from my personal experience doing Jedi Alliance, Ken Knapsack, the former host, would bring me on as a guest, and JT would do Box Office Breakdown, which records right before Jedi Alliance, and then he would sit on this couch here in the studio, and he would watch the first 15 minutes of the show, and then he would get up and leave for transit reasons, right?
Yeah, just because I got to catch a bus.
Yeah, because like the third time, I was like, why does this guy kind of like our show, Ken? When we do this, and then he gets up and leaves. But you have been known to say sort of trolling, jokey things about your lack of Star Wars knowledge. Yeah. But you do tell me that you do have some Star Wars knowledge, correct? Here's
the thing. Being part of the Schmoes Know movie show, I am surrounded by A-level Star Wars geeks. Now, I love Star Wars. I grew up with all the movies, but I have not reached that level of geekdom that all my friends have. So I do poke some jokes once in a while. Listen, I know more about the Rocky movies than I know about Star Wars, and that's not a good thing.
That's amazing to me. It just doesn't seem like there could be as much to know. I mean, there aren't aliens in the background, right?
Which is
with obscure names to learn, right?
Which is probably why, I know the stupid little things, whereas, the stuff you guys know actually adds to the universe. I just know how many pounds Drago hits when he hits the punching bag. It doesn't help me with anything.
You know, the physics of Rocky.
Yes,
who's your favorite opponent? Rocky opponent?
It's that's
too
asking
hard.
Somebody who's their favorite.
Okay.
I would probably say Mr. T just brings so much attitude.
He does.
And he has some of the best. I mean, Drago has a few good quotes, but Mr. T has just so many good ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about Rocky for the next hour.
This will not become Rocky Alliance today. This will not. But
Rocky Alliance.
I was really excited to have JT on because I think that you are such a movie buff.
It's huge.
You're going to bring an interesting perspective to Rogue One, since this is the first movie that's trying to be both a Star Wars movie and kind of its own thing that's maybe a different kind of movie. And we'll get into that a little bit. So please bring your vast movie knowledge. See if you can bring any sort of Rocky trivia to the Rogue One discussion.
I could do it.
A tradition on the show here is when we have a first-time guest, we ask them the 5 questions, which are now 6, about Star Wars. So Audrey, are you ready for the 5 to 6 questions?
Yes.
What was the first time you saw a Star Wars movie, and which is your favorite Star Wars film?
Okay, the first time was in the original. I'm part of the first generation. I'm showing my age. I saw it in a movie theater. My family was living in Hong Kong at the time because my parents worked for the government, and so movies got there later. So it's late 70s, and all in one year, my parents took me to see Saturday Night Fever, Star Wars, and Alien.
Wow.
Which my parents walked me out of
That's awesome.
after the stomach exploding part because I was like 7 or something
I
like
thought
that.
they were going to say Saturday Night Fever. Like, this dancing is appalling. It will be dated in 2 minutes.
So oddly,
Getting our daughter out of here.
those 3 movies have made me fans of that. I don't know where Saturday Night Fever fits in, but it fits into my geekness somehow.
Well,
But I
yeah.
saw it in Hong Kong in a movie theater, loved it, got Luke and Leia dolls that Christmas, made them make out just like a lot of girls did, and were really bothered later.
Luke and Leia. You made Luke and Leia make out.
Yeah.
Not
'Cause they
Han and
were-
Leia.
No. It was Luke and Leia's before we knew what the truth was because they were taller. These dolls were taller.
Yeah, they're the 12-inch, right?
Than my Barbies. So I couldn't have Ken make out with a big, Leia. That was a little weird. So we would make Luke and Leia make out, and then we found out they were siblings, and it was really, really tough.
And was it still fun going forward then when you would make them kiss as siblings, or did you stop
We didn't.
entirely?
By then we had 12-inch figures of the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman, so
Okay.
we just did like different kind of like.
So you did some slash fiction dolls.
We did some slash fiction, exactly.
I had Leia making out with Chewie half the time, so that tells you where my
There you go.
I was just way messed up.
And favorite movie is Empire.
Empire.
For
That's,
sure.
Yeah, not surprising. That's a frequent one.
Yeah.
And who is your favorite character in the Star Wars galaxy?
My favorite character is actually in the later part of the Star Wars universe is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, awesome.
All right.
Love him so much for so many reasons. I'm really hot for Liam Neeson, so as far as the movie, not the comics or anything else, that's some of it. But I've always liked his sense of honor and duty and using that to dictate, if he's going to take a side journey to find out, that wasn't necessarily sanctioned by the Jedi or anything. He'll still do that trip because he thinks it's the right thing to do. And I get that. My brain is analytical that way. Well, we need to do this and, be honorable and noble. And I just think that's great. I just love him. I love him so much, Joseph.
Yeah. I understand. I love him too because it's fun and fascinating to watch him in the film and be like, I am a man of honor.
Yeah.
But Destiny's kind of saying, go over here and do this shady
exactly.
thing. All right. I think that's honorable because Destiny told me
But
to.
Destiny told me to. And he also has like a bunch of like lines that I can print up as affirmations and put them all over my house about like balance. It's almost like they're almost like Buddhist,
Right,
about being
yeah,
human,
your focus
taking the
determines your reality.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So-
great. And what is your favorite quote? Is it a Qui-Gon quote?
It is not a Qui-Gon quote. This is probably what everybody says is fear is the path to the dark side. Just because I'm a scaredy cat. I'm always scared of something. Like I'm scared of you guys right now.
You should be. Yeah, we are all wearing black
And so-
are very short in general, so a lot to be frightened of.
So any kind of, I love fear quotes, and those I would have all over my house if I could. Like, I don't know if you guys are Dune fans, like in Frank Herbert's Dune, fear is the mind killer, I must not fear, fear is the little death that'll bring total obliteration. I can keep going. So I would love to take like a bunch of fear quotes from like sci-fi movies and embroider them old-fashioned and put them all over my house instead of affirmations that say dance like nobody's looking or present yourself as a gift.
Hang in there.
Succumb to the seduction of the dark side like no one is watching. That's
Exactly.
what
There
you
you go.
want.
But
Nice.
fear is the path to the dark side. I think it's very simple and very true.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what is your favorite force power?
My favorite force power is also something that probably everyone chooses. Is like Jedi mind tricks because I really think that could have affected my acting career.
You mean just getting more jobs, or what have you like used it on the whole audience? Like, so
No,
you
no,
just
no.
don't have to act. Like,
I
just
mean, like-
pretend I'm Lady Macbeth.
All right, casting director.
I
I am right for this part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am the 30-something mother with a fun attitude that you're looking for. Something simple. I'm not asking for a lot.
Right. So you would have been using it to get like Clorox commercials.
Exactly. I don't aim high. I like to stay under the radar. So or they have what's the other one? Breath control, like breathing. There's a breathing force power, like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in I forget which movie it was. They were being poisoned or the air was taking so they slow down their breathing because it stops the toxins from getting to you, or it helps or stops your body
I think in the
from
movie
reacting.
it just looks like they may be holding their breath, but in expanded
but in the expanded world it's actually a power, and actually that's in Dune as well, just so everybody knows that Bene Gesserit can do that, and that would really help me out with my asthma.
Okay, so you're going to try to bring everything back to Dune. You're going to try to bring everything back to Rocky. Tony, is there anything that you want to throw into the mix?
I'll probably pull some Muppets in here.
Okay. Excellent. That's the most appropriate. Okay, and the next question is, would you turn to the dark side?
That's not in me.
No.
It's not in me. No, I would never even hesitate. I am nice to a fault, like, say, Jehovah Witnesses in my neighborhood, they come every week, they ask about my dog, they ask about my husband, because I'm always giving them water. I'll say, I'll read this, and then I'll go throw it away. I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, Yeah.
And that is a part of the dark side. I don't know if it's one of their written down tenets, but I think you have to be willing to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just, there's not even a hesitation.
Okay, so no dark side. And the final question is, will you cry while watching The Force Awakens?
Sure, but
I'm up for that.
I cry all the time, so it's really nothing new.
So it's not a measure of anything.
No, what I'll probably do is I'll have that feeling when you're on a roller coaster and you're right about to go over, that where your stomach goes. That's how I'll feel, and I'll probably have a smile plastered on my face that when the movie's over, my muscles will hurt. I don't think I'll actually cry. I'll just be so, there's not even a word for it, It's like, when the first reboot of the Star Trek, I brought Star Trek up, Star Trek movies came out, my husband slipped out his phone and took a picture of me, and I'll never share it with anybody because I just look crazy. It's like, I'm so excited. So I think that's exactly how I'm going to feel.
So you think your face will be in a Richter of joy that makes it not mobile enough to weep?
Yes.
That's really, really cool. That's a great answer to that question. Well, it's good to get to know you, Audrey Kearns. Thank you for being here. We're going to move into news from the HoloNet. Hooray!
Oh, sound cue.
Yeah, nice little sound cue. I believe the Ewoks are dancing now. I believe that is what
is that what that's from?
Yes. So we're going to talk about a couple of new news items from the Star Wars world, and then we're going to get into Rogue One. A thing that we weren't able to cover last week is the promotional partners were announced for The Force Awakens. The thing that is flashing up on the screen on YouTube is an example of maybe some dubious promotional placement. For anyone listening on iTunes,
I'm not comfortable.
Is Jar Jar Binks' head, and then I believe if you push on the bottom, his tongue comes out full of bumps, and it is a sucker that you can
It kind of looks
consume.
like a weird kind of Pez dispenser.
You're basically making out with Jar Jar.
Exactly.
Yeah, you are sucking on Jar Jar's tongue until it goes away.
Which will say a lot about you.
He becomes speechless.
It says a lot about you if you're choosing Jar Jar.
So that's the image I chose to use.
But you are choosing to remove Jar Jar's tongue. So.
So maybe it's a little bit of a wish fulfillment for people who do not like Jar Jar.
Yeah.
But the promotional partners were announced for The Force Awakens, and I wanted to read through them. The promotional partners are CoverGirl and Max Factor, Duracell, FCA, which I had to look up, is formerly Chrysler Automotive, General Mills.
I did not know that.
HP, which is Hewlett-Packard.
I knew that one.
Not Harry Potter. Subway and Verizon. So that's going to be the kind of, when we're walking around this holiday time and the whole world is covered not in snow, but in the Force Awakens merchandise, those are the places we're going to see it. In makeup, in batteries, in cars.
Anything they could
cereal,
think of.
Granola bars.
Yeah.
Subway? Really?
Printers. Subway.
Is the printer Yoda's face and then the paper comes out of his mouth, much like Jar Jar over there?
I mean...
Maybe.
It's hard when I hear something like Subway, like I can't think of anything that relates to the movie, obviously. Unlike Demolition Man, where Taco Bell was the only restaurant in the future, that was a great tie-in.
Yeah.
Great Stallone movie.
Yeah.
But I just don't see how Subway... I'm just bringing it back to Stallone. Subway, really?
So we're not sure about Subway.
Oh, maybe the foot-long wrapper will look like a lightsaber.
That would be cool.
Different color wrapping?
I don't think so.
should-
I
You should
think
TM that.
I know.
right
maybe
away.
Disney will be more strict. Well, no, it's still Disney. I remember this summer, Subway had an Avengers Age of Ultron partnership, and then they had just specific sandwiches, which was like the Hulk BLT or
Oh,
whatever.
so-
Okay.
And I was really trying to figure out, like, why is that one Hulk?
A lot of effort.
There was
effort.
no
Yeah.
relationship to the characters.
Yeah.
So out of that list, are there ones that you guys are excited for? Are there ones that you're concerned about?
Stoked for that Duracell.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can battery up your droids, right? I mean, the cover girl thing is neat. I think it's recognizing female geekdom, which, is still a new and ever evolving thing. They did this, the cover girl did, I believe it was cover girl, the same thing with the Hunger Games, but that was different because that's like a YA kind of book,
Oh,
whereas
okay.
Star
Yeah.
Wars is a much more established property. So I think people will have fun buying that and
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, they wear makeup in a galaxy far, far away.
Absolutely.
You watch.
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
so hey, why not?
Is there ever anything like the Jar Jar where you think it's gone too far, where as much as you guys love Star Wars, you're walking through the world and see something that should not be? Is there something that you've seen like that? Is there something that you're afraid of in the Force Awakens land?
I think something to be afraid of, but I would still buy it because it's awesome. But I don't think you guys will like it if they continue to recognize female geekdom.
Absolutely.
What about like sanitary napkins or feminine napkins for women? Because they already have wings, so let's have some X-wing maxi pads.
You want X-Wings Maxi? I would like to see.
That
I
works.
want
I
to
like
see the commercials for that.
Yeah.
I know. I
Where
would
a
go
mom
in,
and a daughter-
I'd totally Jedi mind trick to get the role in that commercial.
As a warning, this happened to me right before Phantom Menace came out. I was in a grocery store. It was like 2 weeks before Phantom Menace came out. There was a Phantom Menace coloring book. I said, "Oh, cool."
Yeah.
Look through it. Last page, Qui-Jin being killed.
Really, for kids to color.
A week before, like 2 weeks before the movie came out, I just thought looking through a coloring book would not be harmless, and it totally ruined that in the movie for me.
Yeah.
Well, I heard someone else talking about that, about the cover girl. It has quotes. It's all
really?
coming with like on the lip. I'm not sure if it's on the actual product. Say lipstick. It'll say fear is the path to the dark side. There's quotes like that.
Yeah.
But there's also quotes that people can't attribute to existing canon, so they're thinking they're from The Force Awakens, but
Interesting.
not enough to do what
Yeah.
you said, where Qui-Gon's gonna die.
Freaking coloring book.
Yeah, the same
Yeah.
thing. They released the soundtrack to Phantom Menace before the movie came out, and one of the tracks is called Qui-Gon's Funeral. I
my
think.
God.
Yes.
I'm so glad I don't buy
What?
merchandise that much because that would have been
Yeah, I feel
terrible.
like they've learned from that, and I think Disney is mostly just rolling out stuff. I suspect that's going to be from like the first, act of the movie, pretty much.
right.
But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
So that's a little wrap up of all the places you'll be able to see that. I'm sure you'll be able to get Force Awakens anything. Look
Yeah.
for your next generation X-Wing maxi pads coming soon. I want to see that commercial. The mom and the daughter walking on the beach, and then the X-Wings buzz by. If you ever get that not so fresh feeling, there is a power that can deal with it.
There's that shot in the trailer of the X-wings over the water.
Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
right. It might be
that
from
might be
the.
it.
It might be from the.
Then you pull back and there's the mom and daughter walking in the sands.
A maxi pad from a galaxy far, far away. So the next bit of information is maybe a little walking that line of spoilery, but I was really interested in it. There was a rumor, this is just a rumor, that they're doing some casting already for episode 8, and that they're looking for a strong female character, and with the attached rumor that possibly Han Solo's daughter.
Right.
So what do you guys think of that rumor?
I mean, there was rumors that weren't there some rumors like that before this one was even cast.
There's always-
Absolutely.
it
There's
sounds like-
always going to
yeah,
be rumors.
It sounds like it could have carried over. I would like to see that. I think it's an interesting way to have that Han Solo character in there with the same charismatic kind of, I'm a scoundrel, but in a female version would be cool. And actually, I was thinking like Haley Steinfeld might be a good option.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Only because
I
I,
like
really
her.
liked her in True Grit, and
Yeah.
she kind of had that attitude.
She was really good in Pitch Perfect too. as well.
Yeah, she was not bad in that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't know what age range they're really going for.
Yeah.
So, but she could probably play a few years younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm down for it. At this point, because I haven't seen anything these guys have done, I just gotta close my eyes and trust them, really.
Yeah. What would you think if this is just me spinning off into utter fan speculation, but they're introducing the Han's alleged wife in the comics. That story hasn't been
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yes.
resolved yet.
Yes.
The rumor is describing it as Han Solo's daughter, not Han and Princess Leia's daughter. How would you feel about it if it was an illegitimate daughter? Which is why I picked the picture of Han shrugging. Like, what are you going to do? How would you guys feel about that if it was just a sudden illegitimate Han daughter?
I'm okay with that. I don't know. I'm open. I'm open to let him explore. I don't know. It like weirdly seems like it makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
Because while everybody loves Han, he does. If you really, he doesn't seem like the greatest guy necessarily a lot of the time.
Scoundrel is there for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to think by the time we get to episode 8 and everything that it's Han and Leia's kid. I mean, I don't think I'd mind either way.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be Han and Leia's kid.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so our last bit of news is going to lead us into our Rogue One discussion, our main discussion for today. And this is again a rumor that Peter Cushing might be digitally recreated for Rogue One.
Oh, man.
Tony, fan of Muppets, Tony just made, for anybody who is listening, not watching, the perfect Kermit sort of swallowing his lips. This is not okay face. So, Tony, I'll start with you. How do you feel about the possible digital recreation of Peter Cushing?
Not good. I just, you know what? If someone can prove that can be done well, I'll be open to it. But I just feel like anytime something like that has happened, it's always, it's never totally believable. It's always just a little, it's like you're close, but you're not quite there. And I feel like it's just going to be way too distracting.
Yeah.
I think it might be. I mean, I think of course they're going to be using the best technology to date, but they still don't have it perfect. And even although this movie probably didn't have that big of a budget, even like in the last Tron, with where they tried to youngify Jeff Bridges' face, was kind of like, that looks kind of silly.
Yeah, and I think younging, which I'm sure is the technical term, younging or olding digitally.
I think it's euthanized, right?
Yeah, I think it's fine to euthanize people, but that's going to be taken out of context. But it's different to just create someone.
It's going to be bizarre. I get why you want Peter Cushing in the movie, especially at when this movie is happening. He is, he's around and everything like that. But I couldn't help to think of that movie in the early 80s. Did you guys ever see this movie called Looker with Albert Finney and Susan Day? It's so awful. But I watched it when I was 11, and it's like these people that go around with a camera and they'll take a picture of you and you freeze. And you lose time. You basically 2 hours later, you're like, what the heck? And their camera has totally imaged you and everything, and then they go and recreate you, and they're only doing it to supermodels, so that these supermodels will stay ageless and work on a showroom floor.
I like that idea.
Wow. Okay, so you want Grand Moff Tarkin to be a showgirl? Is that what this is boiling down to?
I want him to be working a corporate, a car show floor.
Okay. Cool.
For X-Wings and
I will
maxi
say,
pads.
like you're saying, prove it to me that they can do it first. Did you see Ant-Man? I thought when they did young Michael Douglas,
yes,
it looked
that was
great. But again, they're young and fine him. You actually have the actor there to work almost as a template off.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you're creating a guy completely digital.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you get an actor who kind of looks like him to actually do the role and then do some kind of overlay CGI thing?
I think that they should at least hire Benedict Cumberbatch's cheekbones.
Yes,
I think
agree.
he has the only cheekbones.
But right now they're saying they want to do it 100%. And I mean, like you said, this is all rumor, and that they don't have any of Peter Cushing's legs, and so they're looking at all of his old horror movies to try to create his legs.
This is weird.
Because in the movie, this is what the article said. In the movie, the boots that they wore on the Death Star were so uncomfortable that he refused to wear them.
Yeah, he wore the slippers.
So he wore slippers, and it's always behind a desk or something, so they have no reference point for his legs. For
and see,
movement.
I know that makes technical sense in the digital world,
Right.
but that doesn't give me confidence to say we need to find his Dracula legs so we can.
Well, that's why I'm
his
saying
Van Helsing
just
legs.
use somebody as a template rather than going 100%.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's sparse, maybe just a scene here, scene there, maybe he's in the background.
That would be more top.
Or
But if it's a major character, that's weird.
Totally
Right. If he's in the background and noticing some rebels stealing the
or he's on the screen or something. Yeah.
Or at least
Kids.
Use the footage. Use footage of him from Top Secret.
Exactly.
If you're gonna, that's what I want.
Top Secret.
Nice.
Love that
Okay,
movie.
so we're gonna get deep into Rogue One now, guys.
Yeah.
So, I did a quick review because a lot of people, I think, have had feelings based on the title, assumptions on the title, at least early on when it was first announced that it was Rogue One. I think a lot of us at first thought, like, oh, wow, this is going to be a real spacecraft movie because of Rogue Squadron, all the video games, all the expanded universe. And now we're being told it's going to be a little bit more of a ground war, not ruling ships out, but that it's going to be a little bit more of a ground war, gritty war movie.
Right.
So I did some research on all the Rogue Squadron stuff, and according to Wikipedia, it had all of the different what Rogue means has been wiped away. So it used to be that Rogue Squadron was originally established in Empire Strikes Back, and then in Expanded Universe they did a longer sort of history of it, and fleshed out this whole universe of this great fighting team. But Rogue One, the word rogue is kind of up for grabs now in new canon, because the only thing in current canon that it exists in, to my research, which I might be wrong, is in Empire Strikes Back for the Hoth battle. So what do you guys think that rogue is going to mean? What would you want it to mean?
Come to me first? All right, let's go.
I just looked in your general direction.
Yeah.
It starts with R and it's close to Rocky, so I thought.
Well, I think the story is about a group of people who kind of go rogue. They're like a team basically put together for this secret mission. So I'm kind of just taking it literally as like, this is a rogue mission that's not really on the books. It's like kind of behind the scenes, and they're gonna go steal those plans.
So you think it's even like the rest of the rebellion is maybe not behind it?
I think they are, but it's kind of like it's almost like a suicide mission in a way. It's like, hey, listen, we can't tell you to go do this, but hey, you guys are gonna go rogue. You're gonna go do this mission. If you could pull it off, there's a chance we could take out the Death Star.
Awesome. You guys have thoughts on that?
I'm like in 100% agreement with JT on that one. I think Rogue has, it sounds like you're going silent. You're going and there's going to be a roguish quality to what they're doing. I mean, they're going to steal plans for the Death Star. So I think that's what I think when I hear Rogue.
Cool.
Yeah.
How about you, Tony?
Yeah, I would also agree with that. To be honest, I hadn't thought about it a ton, because I had that same thing of like just thinking of it as being like the Rogue Squadron games and everything.
Yeah.
So I didn't put much thought into it beyond that, and I've honestly kind of not been. I've been same thing with Force Awakens. Like any sort of official information or pictures that get released, I'll look at those, but I'm trying to avoid everything else. So in a way, I'm kind of just trying to just like when I'm supposed to know something, I'll know it. So I'm not even trying to put that much thought into it.
Right.
So.
Your destiny will lead you like Qui-Gon Jinn, doing shady things. JT, are you more excited for Rogue One, given that it is a different kind of movie? Are you more excited for Rogue One than The Force Awakens?
It's weird. I think we mentioned this, like, there's not going to be a lot of Force or like Jedis and Sith in this, and to me that's such a large part of why I go to a Star Wars movie. I want that lightsaber battle. I want the dark side versus the light side. And this is more of like a grounded, more human kind of experience, which excites me as a movie fan and just as a fan of the series, because it's a different take on what we've seen so far. But at the same time, I am a little worried. Like, man, can I watch a movie without like a lightsaber fight? A Star Wars movie without a lightsaber fight? I'm hoping they come across maybe like in passing some Jedis or some Sith Lords or something. But again, because I don't know exactly what the world they're building in, it's hard to say.
Cool. We'll talk a little bit more about the whole Jedi being there or not thing in a minute. Which title do you guys prefer? They were originally calling this whole series the Star Wars Anthology. Now they've changed it to Star Wars Stories, kind of quietly.
Yeah,
they didn't make a. They didn't make a.
Put it up at D23.
Yeah,
right?
it wasn't really an announcement. But this is not all entirely accurate. One source was describing the title as originally being Star Wars Anthology: Rogue One, and now being called Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. Mm-hmm. Which title do you guys prefer for the umbrella standalone films?
Am I allowed to say neither?
Absolutely.
I kind of just why not just Star Wars Rogue One?
Right.
Why can't we just do that? Because there's no episode in there. Like, it's just. I think. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of dumb people out there. Yeah. But I think people can figure that out. But what's going on here?
But I kind of understand that, because as someone who's not as huge Star Wars fan, but I know the movie stuff, so I know what's happening. Like, Anthology automatically puts you in the fact that it happens before The Force Awakens. Like, it kind of gives you a hint that this is going to take place before the first trilogy is happening.
Okay.
when I see anthology, I just think it's like, okay, it's kind of like a prequel. If I just saw Star Wars Rogue One, I'd be like, oh, maybe this is like, why does that have nothing to do with Force Awakens? Why is this story not tying in?
Right.
So
That's a good point.
hopefully
It does,
the trailer will kind of lead you to there, but
Yeah.
I just like anthology better. A Star Wars story can mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like anthology better. I think it just has more weight than the word story.
Agreed.
You know, but that's a very good point. It lets you know that this is not necessarily in the order that you're seeing episode 7 and 8 and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think anthology. I'd be fine with Star Wars Rogue One, but if you're going to use one of those words, I think. Actually, I'm changing my mind. I don't agree with you, Tony. I think you made a very good point. It kind of lets people know that this may not happen in what you think the timeline is.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
A Star Wars story is clear that it is one single thing. Because that's how grammar works. A Star Wars story. But a Star Wars story it sounds so childish.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And also
We're
be
going to steal some
documentary.
plans in a grounded war film. It's a Star Wars story. It's like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sounds like a documentary. Like if I saw Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Like, oh, is this documentary about the making?
Yeah.
of
And they're all
Rogue One?
monologuing. They're all being interviewed
Yeah.
by a producer.
Exactly.
When we did this, well, this is what happened.
I really hope that they didn't change it from anthology just because it's a big word. Because, like, you know, when I was a kid,
Wow.
I liked learning big words that I would not otherwise know from geeky things like Star Wars or comic books.
Yeah.
You know, I learned half my vocabulary just like from Dr. Doom yelling at people. You know, so I hope they didn't change
That'd
it
be
just
interesting.
because.
You never know with marketing and advertising, though.
Well,
You really don't.
I guess what we know is that Disney's probably pretty good at it.
Yes, that is a
True.
fact.
So that they probably made
That is a fact.
a calculated decision to call it a Star Wars story. So moving on, we've talked a lot about, and they've talked a lot about, Kathleen Kennedy, how this is going to be grounded, gritty, gray. Gareth Edwards has talked about it. How morally ambiguous do you guys want the film to be?
I want it to be as morally ambiguous as Disney allows.
Wow.
I say go for it. You know, I mean, they've spoken about
So
the
like
gray,
Herbie the love bug level of...
yeah, right. But just that, you know, the original trilogy, the prequels and everything. I mean, they're great movies, but very basic as far as good versus evil, light versus dark. And they're already saying that this is a gray thing. So I think it opens up a whole new way of storytelling for Star Wars about people's motivations of why they're part of the rebels or why they're going on this mission. So, you know, not all of them are going to be goodies, you know, just doing it because it's the right thing. Some people, you know, everyone's going to have a different motivation. And so I say go for it.
Cool.
I think that'd be very exciting.
Tony?
Same. I feel like I literally have nothing good to add to that, but I'll pretty much just agree with what she said. So I apologize.
No,
but
that's
I
fine.
got
No,
nothing.
that's fine. JT, do you have anything?
Yeah, I tend to agree. Like, I think, like we were saying earlier, because you're bringing the kind of fantasy element a little bit out of it, you kind of get more grounded. It allows you to be a little more gritty. I've heard some people describe this movie, and I think the Schmoes said when they were at like Comic-Con, it felt like a Black Hawk Down, but in the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
It almost feels like a
Interesting.
military film in some points of what I heard. Like some of the artwork that I saw, where it was just like a giant battle going on, it looked like a straight up war movie, just in space instead of here. So yeah, I'm kind of glad to see that different side of Star Wars because you're taking that fantasy aspect out a little bit. It's a little more grounded in reality, and it could be a little more darker and a little edgier.
Cool. Yeah, I just hope that they do like some good war movie stuff that sort of really puts you in the place of like, this is chaos. You can't really
Yes.
control it. You can't be the hero who sees down the line and does everything perfectly like a Jedi. I just hope that they don't do sort of grim for grim's sake. Like, I would be really bummed
Right.
if it's
Right.
mostly just Mads Mikkelsen just like staring out a spaceship window looking
I could
dark
watch that
and dramatic.
probably for 20 minutes, but my limit would be 20 minutes. with him.
Even I, as a straight married man, would like that on an aesthetic level. But I just mean, like, I feel like we've got this tipping point in our culture where we've gone into like, hey, we like gritty, and sometimes instead of earning that and just making us like feel what the character's feeling, we get just sort of like a character looks off into the distance, sad, and some music plays, so we're supposed to know that that's
Are you
that's
really
deep.
talking about True Detective season 2?
Well, I think there's a lot of it. I think it
Yeah.
kind of started, you know, with like even like House and Breaking Bad and just sort of the rise of the anti-hero, where when it's
Right.
done well, where it's just like the dark guy with the dark past. When it's done well, it resonates. When we know why the character feels that way, it's powerful. But I think now it's just become kind of this cheap thing,
Right.
where if somebody stares off into the distance and looks grim and says everything's dark and just people die, like it's the trick is to make it real.
And this is where the director worries me a little bit because
I was about to say the same thing.
Godzilla, very visually amazing film at times and very dark, and it's not a happy movie.
No.
But he didn't really do a good job of using the actors and showing any kind of like emotion or range. I don't know if that's on Aaron Taylor Johnson or even who I thought was great in Marcy May Marlene, or what's the Olsen twins' name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth
Yeah,
Olsen.
Elizabeth.
Yeah, she
That's
was
a good
like
movie.
she was a great actress, and she did nothing in that movie.
Yeah.
So while just like you're saying, I'm worried that he might just use that look to give you that dark, gritty staring out the window. I just hope he does have a really good cast. So I'm kind of banking that this cast won't make the same mistakes that happened in Godzilla.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so too. But I think with Godzilla, he set out to like remind people it would be really bad if a giant lizard smashed cities, and like, we know, we know that would be bad. We just also want it to be fun. So I think there's also going to be a balance of that. Of like, it's so much of what has always made Star Wars good is a sense of fun, and I can't believe what I'm seeing on the screen.
Very true.
See, I think this is
I
gonna
think they need to
step
find
away
a
from
different way to capture that, though.
I don't think this
There's a
movie's
good
going to be
chance.
fun.
Yeah,
It's going to be very cool and very like gritty. I just don't think it's going to be like a usual summer fun movie. I think they're going a much darker route.
I'm okay with that.
Me
as long
too.
as it's
I'm
done
with that
well.
too.
But I am very skeptical. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to see it the second it comes out. And I'm so excited. But but I am. Yeah, I'm not sold on this director.
Right.
I was not a big.
You're not a big
Godzilla
fan of
fan.
Godzilla?
I'm actually quite concerned. I mean, he's a very talented guy with the writer. Actually, the latest writer, Chris Weiss, I think is how you pronounce his name. One of my favorite trilogies in the world is his Dark Materials. It's the Golden Compass, and it's a really heavy book that deals with religion and politics and all this kind of stuff. And he wrote and directed the Golden Compass. And when I saw that movie, I was just like, oh, you chickened out on everything. There's not one thing in that book that was in that movie. Granted, so that's 10, 15 years ago, so maybe that was one of his first movies, so hopefully, you know, there were no chances taken. There were no chances taken, not that much conflict. But you make a good point about we all do have fun watching Star Wars movie, and they're letting us know ahead of time that this is war. It's gritty, from
the artwork,
even from the picture that we have up in front of us right now. It's very
the
dark.
Rogue One cast photo that
It's
they
almost
released.
like a DC movie.
Yeah. It's almost like a DC movie in tones, and also everybody's expression really does just look like, I've gathered you here to tell you all that your grandmother is dead. Like, it looks like they're getting bad news. So another, on that sort of note, it's been described as a ground war movie. There's the suggestion of space battles from lots of different places, but it's also been discussed as a heist movie, given that's what's actually happening is they're stealing it. And when I think of heist movies, I think of like elaborate plans, sizzling jazz score, witty banter.
Tom Cruise.
George Clooney.
Yes, exactly. Brad Pitt. So what if it does have an element of heist movie, of at least in structure, of like we find out we have this opportunity, we make our plan. Second act is the plan we do half the plan right, but then it goes wrong. Then the third act is pulling it out at the last minute. How do you think that would work with the grounded, gritty war?
It's funny, the way you say heist movie, you kind of go to Ocean's 11 and these more fun movies. I feel like it's going to go more towards Mission Impossible movies. It's an action movie, and there's one point where they have to get something. It doesn't mean they're going to pull a con. It's basically, how do we break into this place?
Right.
It's more like, Dirty Dozen and stuff.
I was just thinking that Dirty Dozen, Magnificent Seven.
Yes, people
movies.
on a mission.
Three Kings, all movies with numbers in the back.
Yes. Rogue One.
Rogue One. There you go. So
I'm terrified.
Discovered something here.
So I don't see it as like a fun heist movie. I see it as a mission movie with a heist element to it, as we need to get this, and they might have to go through some, who knows what kind of security they have on these spaceships on a Death Star. I mean, I don't know. So it's more like that than I see it being a fun heist movie.
Okay, so here's another fun comparison. I think the movie Aliens is fun while being dark, grounded, and gritty. Do you guys think Aliens is fun, or am I nuts?
Aliens is
Aliens,
the fun one.
yes.
You know, it's like Ridley Scott versus James Cameron. It's
Yeah.
you know, totally like Alien. I just watched that with my daughter the other day, and she was just blown away. And I know that when we watched the second one together, and I'm not telling her how different the tone is. I'm just curious to see what she thinks. But the tone's completely different, and it starts out big and it's fun, and you've got those Marines.
It's dark. It's dark. People are being murdered. The main, plot point is to save a very young child from dying. But we still know the characters, and that makes them fun. We see their perspectives, and there's like humor in the way they face the horror because we know them.
And there's just those big blockbuster moments, like in Aliens, when the bay door opens and she's in the freaking construction suit. She's like, "Get away from her, you bitch!" It's like, you can't help but be like, "Yeah."
Yeah, so I guess I hope that there are moments like that because we know these characters, because we know the horror they've gone through and how much they want the thing that they want, that there are those moments of like, F yeah.
But what about like the beginning of Aliens when they all wake up and they're all around the table eating and they're doing this thing with Bishop and Bill Paxton is being Bill Paxton, and so you're getting to know their personalities that way before this horrific thing starts to happen.
And I do have some faith that will happen, given that they've announced this cast that's all really charismatic actors, and that it's a big cast, so it's going to have that ensemble feel. It won't be the big three and then a bunch of little side characters.
What if they did a heist movie like a David Mamet heist, like the Spanish Prisoner, and it's all vocal choreography?
I don't think they will do that kind of swearing.
And Ricky Jay. Oh, that's right. And Ricky Jay can make a cameo. And it's all swearing.
I think Disney will allow heads to literally explode on screen before somebody says GD.
Yeah. And that's the least of David Mamet swearing.
So, since it's going to be grounded, it's going to be war, it's going to be brutal, that means probably stormtroopers are going to be really kick-ass.
Yeah, that's I'm curious like how the main villain's gonna be. Obviously it's the Empire, but I would like to see them almost go up against like some more like bounty hunters or even people the Empire hire to take them out. They don't have to go directly against the Empire right away. So I think you could do some really cool things with villains there. You could create some new villains because honestly, like you said, stormtroopers, they're not that badass.
But they have to be. If it is a ground war, that's who's fighting. It can't be just like the stormtroopers.
We need to finally see how they earned that job. Because we've always heard like how accurate they are.
Yeah, they can't be like, well, we're kicking back and like drinking Miller Lite, and then the real troops are out there slaughtering all these rebels.
That's true. In the Force Awakens trailer, the first time you see the stormtroopers in that first teaser, they're more menacing than they have ever been in any of the earlier films. Like, it's just the color, the tone, it's like poof, very military. It never really felt like that with the original films for me.
Since I saw, the first one was at like 7, so through, and that was basically a big kids movie, so through a 7-year-old brain, I was afraid of Darth Vader. I was afraid of the stormtroopers. Of course, when I look at them now, it's a little comical, So as being like part of the first generation Star Wars, I almost said Star Trek, Star Wars watchers, and seeing this movie now, I'm kind of excited that they're going to bring back that fear I had as a kid towards stormtroopers, and I would actually like to see it.
I think that could be a fun moment if, like, within seconds you see some stormtroopers like whatever, and they what did they do?
I mean, they can fight. I mean, that
would be really, really cool to me. So it's also supposed to feature regular citizens, and I don't know if that was a specific term that was being used. I don't remember really if they're trying to get at they're being regular citizens in that they're not Jedi, or do you think that they mean like some of these people we will meet is in like they just have a day job on Dantooine and they get involved with this? Do you guys want to see just like truly regular day-to-day people?
As long as it's not like too like literally like I feel like that's a thing they'll do on like Rebels or something sometime where it's like, oh, this is so and so that owns this shop somewhere.
Yes.
Like I don't like
they
when they
sell fruit. Yeah,
I mean, which obviously in that universe those things need to exist, but I feel like we don't need to see those things.
Yeah,
like, we can just assume that exists, and we don't need to think about that.
So you don't want to see like a Star Wars barista or whatever.
Not so much.
Dantooine.
I mean, they can throw hints of it here and there, where maybe it's like a setting for something, but we don't need to like go and have a, Imagine if like the cantina obviously serves it's a big part of A New Hope, but like if they're having like this in-depth conversation with Wooer, however you say his name, like
Wooher, the bartender. Yeah,
it's not. I don't know how cool that would be. So,
What do you think, Audrey?
I think finding out more about Dantooine would be super awesome. Because it's not like one of the.
That's just a random planet I'm throwing out there.
But it's also not one of the busiest planets off the Space Freeway or however
Freeway.
And so I think that'd be interesting, but I do want to see, I don't want it to be, I guess like a good mix. Like if you have the folks that are planning the stealing of the plans, the heist or whatever, and then they're like, oh, there's these twins down the road that are great at building droids. Let's get them in on this. I mean, I think a couple characters like that have something that are going to be a part of the whole 2 hours.
A little
I'm
suggestion
cool
of
with
they
that.
had a life, then the Empire
They're being threatened too.
made it that so that their life that they had can't function, so they have to move to this level of desperation.
French resistancy, where everybody was involved.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's tough because I don't know how they're going to use it in a movie, so it's kind of speculation. If they're showing like a little bit of the home life and some of their like, remember like Guardians of the Galaxy, John C. Reilly played like this colonel in the Air Force, and they actually showed like his family. And if they do some of that to some of the side characters, I don't mind that. Yeah, because it might give you a little. If say someone gets killed in it, it might give you a little bit more meaning to their death or something. It's hard to say without knowing exactly what how they're gonna use it. Speculation. So as long as they do it right, I'm down for it. But proof's in the pudding. Gotta wait till we see it.
Cool. And I don't know how many people here on the panel are huge fans of Clone Wars or Rebels, but do you guys want to see that canon brought into this movie, or do you really want to keep a Star Wars story, and it's disconnected from the other media that's going on?
I would kind of like some elements in there, I think that would be kind of cool, because they haven't really done that so much. I feel like the closest they've done to that is how you see Aura sing for 1 second in Phantom Menace. Yeah. So I don't know. It would be sort of cool to see Ahsoka Tano pop up in some way. Yeah. And I don't know, because I have been enjoying Rebels so far, and I would like to see some elements of that.
It's getting better and better, and building toward this, obviously.
Yeah.
Toward Rogue One.
I mean, as long as it's still a standalone movie where a fan can go. That doesn't know everything in the universe can go and enjoy it. It's just like watching Marvel movies. Like if you're a big Marvel fan, you get all these for lack of a better term, all these hidden Mickeys or Easter eggs that you see in the movie that maybe some other people in the audience don't get. But that's fine because they're still enjoying the movie. So that's I'm saying, as long as people can still enjoy the movie, and then it just enhances the experience for Clone Wars fans and Star Wars Rebels fans when they see little things like that.
How about you, JT?
She said exactly what I was going to say.
Audrey, the answer taker.
Audrey got it. Like in Daredevil, there's references to the cinematic universe, but it doesn't really take away or add if you don't know it. So I feel the same way. Like I don't follow those shows as much as I've never seen Rebels, but I've seen some Clone Wars. So I probably wouldn't pick up the stuff, but you guys might be in there like, oh my god. Whereas I'm just like, just over my head. It doesn't affect the story. So I agree with the.
So speaking of Ahsoka Tano, do you guys want there to be absolutely no Jedi, no Force? Or will you be bummed if not a single lightsaber is ignited?
I'm okay with it. I thought a lot about this one because no Jedi, it's just like, it's so weird. It's so weird not to have a Jedi. And maybe I'll miss it after I see the movie if there are no Jedi in there. But this is a chance to see how people are living in this world under the Empire's pressure outside of the usual suspects. I think and that's also a good movie for heist movies.
No number though.
No number.
Yeah. If it was the 17 usual suspects, it would fit in our strange conspiracy.
Can be in it. No, so I think that's interesting, seeing what has driven the characters to be a part of this, ragtag team. And yes, I did just use the word ragtag.
I'm sure it will be used again.
Team. So I think it's neat. I don't know if I get through the movie if I'm going to say, I really missed that lightsaber. I really missed, the Force or something like that. But right now, I think it's interesting.
How about you, Tony?
Once again, kind of an answer stealer, so thanks. But,
I'm on a roll.
I feel the same way. And part of me, too, is I feel like it almost, in a way, needs to be that way because, Obi-Wan, claiming that he's kind of the last of the Jedi, but then Rebels has introduced Kanan, who's, supposed to, be a Jedi that survived. And so, they keep kind of, throwing other people, well, we know we said that, but this guy's kind of still out there. So, maybe let's own up to it and be like, yep, they're not around
They're
anymore.
not around. They're not here to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll be lacking if it's not there. I don't know. But I'd like to see it. Let's try.
Excellent. JT, you have said that you are not happy.
I'm mixed on it because here's the thing. I can't understand no Jedi. Like you're saying, Luke and Obi-Wan are really the only ones around that point. Yeah. And Luke doesn't even know he's a Jedi yet, and Obi-Wan's hiding somewhere in a cave. But the thing that I'm excited about when I heard about Rogue One was the fact we're going back to that time period.
Okay.
So, listen, you're going to the Death Star. Throw me a little Darth Vader. He doesn't even have to say anything. Give me something him walking down the aisle. If I don't see Darth Vader in the movie, I'll be a little disappointed because if you're in that time period, look at her, bring back Peter Cushing. Vader, you don't need, you just need somebody in the costume.
Yeah.
So I'll be disappointed, but again, I think if the movie works, it works.
If you had to choose between getting Grand Moff Tarkin back or Vader, you would choose
Vader.
All the way.
All the way. I mean, because he's there. He's going to be on the Death Star wherever they're going.
Yeah, and I think we all want to see Vader doing the Vader thing of just being fearsome and I think he should be the absolute terror they think they've got away and they turn the corner and there's Vader and he takes out half of them, And
this is the only way we could get Vader because he's not going to be in the sequels. I mean, we've seen the burnt helmet in the trailer, but this actually gives the opportunity to go back and see more Vader. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, I would be really happy with that.
I would too. And I believe the question was about Jedis, not Sith.
It was Jedis and Sith.
I include Sith. Jedi and Sith.
You said it's I agree with you on that Jedi part. You can't. It's kind of hard to work them in there because at this point they're basically extinct.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go anywhere near Death Star, give me Vader.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% on that.
I think it'd be really cool if they were aware of we used to rely on Jedi for this kind of thing when it had to happen, and then getting the plans is so difficult. They're all like, screw it, get the hermit from the cave, Leia. Because that's what once they get the plans, they do actually turn to a Jedi. So it'd be cool if Rogue One was a story of like, this is how hard it is to do stuff without a Jedi.
Would it be great if Vader like killed one of the main characters on the team or something?
Yeah.
I mean, how awesome would that be? Like,
that's a great point that those kind of stakes can be there in a Star Wars story.
Because people will die in this movie. I think. I mean, this is a heist, so people are main cast members are going to die, especially since it's a standalone. At least that's my theory.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if it's one of the characters we know.
I totally agree. And even though they have these skills and they're like really good soldiers, there's not much you can do when you come across Darth Vader. One of those characters, they're done.
Yeah.
Or the way it should be. There's also been a lot of discussion about bounty hunters being in the movie and maybe contributing to the moral gray area that maybe rebels are working with bounty hunters.
Okay.
These are all kind of rumors that are floating around. If you guys could see one bounty hunter in the movie, who would you want to see?
Dog the bounty hunter.
Yes.
Get out.
I fully support that answer.
You cannot steal that answer from Audrey. I want real Star Wars bounty hunters.
Oh, you know who I'd like, but I think he's dead by this time. I think it'd be fun. Just out of a fun thing, it would be IG-88.
No, he's IG-88.
Yeah,
he's
around.
still alive?
Well, yeah, because this is supposed to be
I thought he got
before.
killed.
This is before Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. So I'd like to see it.
He is alive as a droid ever is.
Yeah.
Tony, would you like IG-88?
That had crossed my mind.
Answer stealer.
Go, bring that the Clone Wars thing in. Maybe what if they threw Cad Bane in there?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be really excited about that.
Yeah,
because fans do have a connection to him that he is. They've seen him do some awful things in Clone Wars, so if our heroes hired it. So
and
somebody,
it works with the timeline. I feel like
especially an aging Cad Bane. JT.
My knowledge of bounty hunters is not very deep.
Okay.
I don't want to say, Boba Fett, because that's obvious. Greedo?
Greedo is alive.
He could pop up maybe just as a fun cameo. I would love to see them have to get something and go to Lando. If we gotta get Lando in there somehow, it's I know you'd probably have to recast him.
Or they could try to make him.
Or they could do the Peter Cushing thing.
They could do the youngening.
But I could see, I could see that part where they have to pull off a heist and they need a certain thing. And they have to go to him because he has all the connections.
That would be cool.
I think that'd be a cool way to work him in there, but that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
I rode alone with him in an elevator at Dragon Con.
With Billy D. Williams or Greedo?
No, Billy D. Williams, and it was so awkward because I didn't want to fangirl, and he was with someone from the hotel that wanted him to sit down in the wheelchair, and he just refused because he's getting on in years.
I think
he had just walked into the hotel, so he was. In my head, I'm thinking he was like, I'm gonna freaking walk to my hotel room, and no one's gonna see me in the wheelchair.
You know what I would have said to him in the elevator?
What?
You were awesome in Nighthawks with Stallone.
I couldn't say anything. I was frozen.
You also get out.
It's just you two now.
It's just you and me, Tony. This is what we've always dreamed of. Being alone on a podcast. For myself, I'll say Dengar. Partially because we were pretty abusive to Dengar on the Bounty Hunter Bash. We got a lot of tweets from a person who loves Dengar, had a lot of good arguments about Dengar, and has a Dengar tattoo on her arm. Really cool looking. But I actually do think Dengar, of a lot of the Bounty Hunters we've seen, his look fits in with the Rogue One cast.
Yeah.
He looks tortured and wrapped. He looks like he's been through a lot. are there any other existing Star Wars characters you want to see in the movie? We've covered sort of Darth Vader, maybe some people from Clone Wars.
Lando.
You want to see Lando?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody else.
I would say just because it begins with her in, it's her beginning in episode 4, maybe a transmission between Leia or instructions from Leia. Not have her actually be there, but getting like a message, this is what you need to do and everything, because that's what, basically propels episode 4.
A sense of her involvement. Does she have nothing to do with this? And then the plans are handed to her and she takes the ball from there? Or is she,
did she know
or is she planning this?
That's the only part that interests me. I don't think any other existing characters would interest me, and Qui-Gon's dead, so.
and doing that kind of thing, like where maybe like she appeared like in the hologram message or something, would be like the one way they could pull it off well.
Exactly.
Because like
digital,
stuff like Star
Yeah.
Tours, like when have you been on Star Tours when you get the message from Leia?
No.
It looks like the real young Carrie Fisher.
Cool.
They can get her voice, and then maybe modulate it a little bit just to make it sound a little more young,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it'd be awesome.
Because it's kind of small and it's just like, oh, that just looks like her.
Yeah.
It could be a great stinger. I don't know if Star Wars are going to do these stingers like Marvel's doing, but like they steal the plans because we know they steal them. Like the after credit scene is Vader going to the Emperor telling him that the plans have been stolen. Throw the Emperor in there at one last scene at the very
Get
end.
a
I was going to say, I really, I just always want Palpatine.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I want Palpatine in anything. If it's a Star Wars story, I want it to be a storybook that Palpatine is reading out of.
And he's so old and everything that you can can do makeup for him. You don't need,
You don't have that, like I say, you don't have them throughout the movie. He's not even there. You hear about him, and then like the last end, right before the credits are over, Vader's like, "Sorry, Master, the plans have been stolen."
Yeah, I think you can do really fun moments without having a lot of the characters. Just seeing some of these iconic characters in the background, just like turning and looking at our rebels, like, oh, that'd be really, really powerful.
I think it's turning and looking at the camera,
winking, turning and winking.
Yeah, Lando would be like,
"You will buy my maxi
I'll tell you who I don't. I don't want the droids in the movie. I'll tell you that much.
That's a very good question.
R2 or C-3PO, some of the biggest problems with the prequels is the fact that they're throughout.
I think that they will be left out because they have so been sold as for years, decades now. Lucas's opinion that they're the ones telling the story. They're the ones who move through the story with us. They certainly will in the new trilogy. Leave them out is another good way to say this is not your normal Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
The only way they get tied in is because there's that he's the one that gets the plans from Leia, gives him the message. So he could be seen like on a ship with Leia if Leia's in the movie at any point, but I could do that if they're not there.
I think for this tone of this movie, I think it'd be a distraction.
They wouldn't really fit with the tone.
Yeah.
But how sad will Anthony Daniels be to not be involved?
Seriously.
Really. So 2 more topics on Rogue One when we start to wrap the show up. In the original Star Wars, the plans are described as data tapes. Do you guys want them to actually be tapes as an homage to the 70s? Or do you want them to be actual sci-fi information?
I mean,
do you guys want them walking out of there with a big Betamax VHS tape?
We don't know what tapes meant to them back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could be a totally different thing.
Yes.
I don't think it's actual tape.
I think I would say, because you are bringing in a whole new generation of Star Wars lovers that don't know they're Star Wars lovers yet.
Yeah.
They're going to be kids that are going to be watching this movie. Just let it be one of the conceits of the movies where you call it something else, it looks like something else.
Yeah.
You have to.
Exactly.
They did that with the Star Trek reboots.
The funny thing is, if you actually do throw in like a VHS to kids, that would look like, oh, cool, that's some beat up old technology from a long time ago.
Although I just said BSG, but then again, he still used, this is so and so, and I used old phone.
Yeah, the old phone hand.
This is Galactica Actual or something. They were still using a phone like Edward James Olmos with a curly.
Yeah, and very specific thing in that show. But then I'll be interested to see how they physically manifest the plans. So it's not just like we downloaded this onto a USB drive. Yeah.
And that brings up something for me. Like when I watched the original trilogy, then you watch the prequels, one of the problems I had was this technology was just so much more advanced in the prequels. Yeah. I'm really hoping with these new films that take place in that same era as the first 3 films, they try to keep the technology somewhat similar as far as the looks and the way they use it. I don't want to see like technology that just seems so out of place when you watch the original trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that the Empire is really not managing the world well. It's just like literally the infrastructure, like bridges are falling down, and manufacturing is not being done as well. That's my little fan fill-in. So the final question about this is sort of what would you guys want the overall thematic idea of the movie to be? Because I think Star Wars, as much as they're big action adventure films, they always do have an idea to them. The original trilogy is absolutely about hope and redemption. The prequel trilogy is about, falling and giving into your fear and corruption and blindness. What would you want the movie to be about at its core?
I would say sacrifice. I want
Nice.
this team to barely make it out. They're doing something for the larger good. I think they kind of know going into the suicide mission, and I think a lot of teams should die. I mean, that picture's amazing, and the cast is amazing. I think it would be amazing to see these guys literally risk their lives, most of them, just to get these plans out to help the Rebel Alliance. Because the Rebel Alliance, I mean, they're beaten down at this point in the Star Wars trilogy. I mean, freaking the Death Star, their whole plants are getting blown up after this thing. So I really want to see that despair. And I think the sacrifice would be a great, kind of just overall theme to the movie.
Cool. Tony?
I really thought his answer was going to be boxing.
That would have been amazing.
It's really at its heart about pugilism and being Italian American.
Ivan Drago would be great Sith Lord.
It's a great name. Too bad it's token.
Yeah,
It is.
that's true.
Sith Drago.
I feel like this kind of just makes me sound like a dumb guy, which is accurate. But I feel like I really haven't put, as excited as I am, I'm trying to not put that much thought into it.
Right.
So in a way, I'm just like, I don't know.
You want it to wash over you.
Yeah, I want to just be, I guess they're these people fed up with the Empire, and they're just like, all right, we got to do something about this, and we're gonna do what we can to fix it.
Cool.
I mean, that's what it's going to be. But
Right. Well, that's what the actions are going to be. It's a question of whether or not is it emotionally going to feel like that. Are you going to walk out affected? So when you have to go on your own sort of day-to-day missions, you sort of think of it. The way I think. That's what was successful about the original trilogy. It made you think about staring off into the twin suns and what's my future going to be? What am I going to live up to?
Yeah.
And I hope it has that sort of power. It has moments like that where you think of oh man, I'm going to let this person at Trader Joe's go in front of me because sacrifice, because I have sacrifice on my mind because I just watched this great movie that's so about sacrifice.
It's like they referred to it, like I said, some people said Black Hawk Down. It's just these guys who sacrifice themselves for the greater good and to help people, and the loss is a big part of that. And I think this movie, just the grittiness and all of it, the tone just feels like it's set up for that perfectly.
Audrey, how about you?
I agree. I think sacrifice, survival, but I think it's also going to be a jumping off point to the switching to the original trilogy of redemption and hope, because like I said before, I think this ragtag group of heist people, the second half of that sentence didn't go as well as the first. Heist people.
I think that is actually going to be the copy of the movie. A ragtag group of heist people have to steal some data tapes.
So I think as I said, we don't know everyone's motivations in the movie, and some are going to be true believers, and some are going to be trying to right some wrong in their past, and people are going to die. And so people find redemption in different ways. And so I think this is going to be a great balance between the prequel trilogy and then the original trilogy, like a great kind of bridge, but then with all these other aspects, like you were saying.
The sort of darkest before the dawn of A New Hope, literally A New Hope. Cool.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Well, so I wanted to stick to the gritty theme, so I wanted to play a gritty game of Kiss, Marry, Kill. We're not going to do F because of YouTube and whatnot, and also because really in Star Wars everybody kisses, like this picture of Princess Leia kissing Chewbacca, just like you did, JT. I did not know about this.
And he's actually just thinking, I want to eat your head. That's on his mind right there.
That's what Chewbacca's thinking about. Cool. So we're going to play a quick game of Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
We're going to start with you, JD.
Yeah, let's do it.
Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Tyrannus.
Okay, I don't know who Darth Tyrannus is.
I was kind of hoping you'd say that. I'm going to give you an option. I can tell you who Darth Tyrannus is, or you can swap in Ivan Drago.
I'll swap in Ivan Drago.
Okay. So Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Drago. Kiss, Marry, Kill.
Kiss, Marry, Kill. I'll kiss Vader because at least I don't have to hit him on the lips. I'm just kissing a helmet. I will kill Who's the other one after Vader?
Darth Maul. You know who Darth Maul is, right?
I'll kill Maul. Yeah, I know Darth Maul. Unfortunately, he made it one movie. I'll kill him because he seems easy to kill.
Phantom Menace.
Only made it one
yes.
film, and I guess I'd marry Von Drago, so then I at least hear about some Rocky 4 stories.
All right.
Behind the scenes.
I will make you stick to the Darths, Audrey. So kiss, marry, kill. Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Tyrannus.
Say once again, who Darth Tyrannus is.
He is Count Dooku.
I'm not the only one. Oh, that's Dooku?
That's okay. I know who Count Dooku is.
Glad I
Darth
killed him.
Vader, Darth Maul, Tyrannus I would kill. Darth Maul I would kiss deeply. Very deeply. And I'd marry Vader because there's always a chance at redemption.
Yeah. And second marriages sometimes go better for people.
Exactly. and that's marriage is about work.
He's learned a lot about being in a marriage.
That. Yeah.
You like silent types. You like silent types.
But they
Don't
take
turn
control
evil and
when need be. Yeah.
Excellent. Tony, Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Tyrannus, kiss, marry, kill.
Let's see. I'm gonna kill Tyrannus because he's probably gonna die soon anyways. He's pretty old. I think I'm pretty answer stealer. I think Darth Maul. I'll kiss him. Why not?
He seems passionate. Yeah.
That's the thing is he's going to commit to it.
He seems.
Oh yes, he is.
Yeah, he seems exotic. Who knows what he has in store?
Run your hands over those
He'll do
horns.
this thing where he looks at you like this.
A little snake dance Audrey's doing.
And Darth Vader. I'll hang out with him. He's got some power.
Yeah.
Give me all I'll get whatever I want. Right?
Yeah. You can be in command of a starship. Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so next round is the more classic Luke, Han, Leia. Oh. So, JT, you know all of those, right?
I'll marry Leia.
Okay.
Just because that's the way I roll.
Commitment man.
I will probably... I'll kill Luke. Only because that'll make Leia the only Jedi, which would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
My wife's the only Jedi around. And then I guess I'd have to kiss Han.
I believe you mean get to kiss Han.
Get to kiss Han.
Get to kiss Han.
And I'll be like, that was my first kiss. And he'll be like, I know.
Nice. Points, JT. Points. If this was at midnight, points. All right, Audrey, kiss, marry, kill, Luke, Han, Leia.
I would kiss Han deeply. Very deeply. It's not good marriage material. I'd kill Luke because he got on my nerves, and so, all about equal rights. I would marry Leia.
Nice.
Yeah, we'd have a great life together. She would, like you were saying earlier, she would get me a ship.
Yeah, she has a different kind of power. She has the power of diplomacy as opposed to choking.
And I'm marrying into a family, which
with
is
a legacy.
With a legacy,
shit.
so there you go.
You're a prince.
All right, Tony, kiss, marry, kill, Luke, Han, Leia.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same thing here. I mean, Luke gets a little whiny and annoying.
Yeah.
Let's off him. Yeah, and Princess Leia.
Princess Leia.
It's Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Come on.
Kind of a babe.
Slave girl.
Yeah. And then I got no issue.
Much like Darth Maul.
Han's a handsome man.
Yeah, I applaud that. I'm surprised nobody wants to kiss Leia. Just settle down with Leia, and I'll just kiss Han on this side. Yeah, no,
it's a twofer.
Yeah. Because I think I would open marry Leia so Han could also be involved.
Okay, there you go.
I'd kiss both of them.
Key part, I like
I
it.
couldn't bring myself to kill Luke though. All right, so this is the last one, and this is a little bit more bizarre because I'm a bizarre guy.
All right.
Kiss, marry, kill, JT. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Wait, I'll kill Return of the Jedi. Because I think it's the weakest of the trilogy.
Okay.
I'm not saying I don't like the movie.
But you feel it's the weakest. That's valid.
Although, if I kill it, we don't get Battle for Endor. That's tough. Because then we're erasing a cinema classic.
Definitely the first time that sentence has ever been said.
Well, why don't you marry Return of the Jedi so you can make Ewok made-for-TV movie babies with it?
I will marry Empire because it's the best.
Yeah.
I'll kiss Star Wars New Hope because I like it a lot. It's good. It's raw.
Excellent.
And
Audrey?
I kill Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Okay, Audrey. Kiss, marry, kill, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi.
Well, much like a first kiss, New Hope was my first Star Wars movie, so I'd kiss A New Hope deeply. And I'd kill Return of the Jedi, and I would totally marry Empire Strikes Back, and me and Empire Strikes Back and sleep inside Tauntauns and all that kind of, that sounds really exciting to me.
Yeah. Tony, are you going to buck the trend?
I am.
Oh,
Nice.
yes.
I
There
am.
we go.
And this is going to be probably a
Controversial.
not very popular answer here. But let me defend myself here before anybody gets all
Let's hear this.
While I will be a total agreement that Empire is the best movie
Yes.
of the trilogy, it is weirdly kind of the one that I find myself wanting to actually watch them like on a repeat basis.
Okay.
I think that I would actually kill Empire.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Wow. It fits. It
If,
fits.
you know, you're-
Empire's all about tragedy.
You're forcing me to make
point.
this decision.
I am.
Marriage could be about
So
that too.
again, it's the one I tend to read.
And you watch it all the time. That's much like marriage.
Exactly.
It's like, it's what I want to revisit the least.
Right.
It's great,
Yeah.
but I don't want to. I still enjoy it. I just don't want. I tend to watch the other ones more.
Yeah.
So, and similar to her answer, like A New Hope just has that nostalgia and just like that thing. So it's like, yeah, I'll give that.
So you're gonna
the kiss.
Kiss it deeply.
And then I'll be the rare person that's gonna marry Return of the Jedi.
You're
'cause
gonna
that
marry Jabba the
that
Hutt
has
and
the
Ewoks.
extra special attachment for me because that's the one that I actually remember seeing in the theaters.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes total
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
And so it has
First
this-
love.
Yeah. You marry your first love.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
you kiss a little flirt like A New Hope.
Let me clarify too. It needs to be non-special edition because I can't deal with
Yes,
I can't deal with
understand.
Jedi rocks.
I would have
Agreed,
specified if we were doing
100%.
special edition.
Yeah.
This is theatrical release.
I just need to make sure that Jedi
Okay.
rocks
Yes.
is
When we play this game
nowhere
again,
near.
and I need to make it even weirder, I'll do the various special editions.
Yes.
Would you kiss A New Hope special edition from the Blu-rays, but Mary Empire Strikes Back special edition from theatrical release? Anyway, we're going to move on to Duel of the Fates.
Oh, right.
And we will do our Duel of the Fates dance that we do for the YouTube people, which is a horrible dance of arm pumping.
dance is a strong word.
It's the most exercise I get all week, so I need to do it. So last week's question was, if you could see any actor in the Star Wars universe, who would you want to see? And we got some great reactions on the Facebook page for Jedi Alliance. There was a general consensus that a couple people put in votes for Viggo Mortensen. Is either a smuggler type
I
or a
see.
Jedi.
Nice.
I can totally see that.
That's a good one.
A couple of people offered total casting lists for the video game Knights of the Old Republic, which I appreciated. One of my favorites, a shout out to Ryan McKenna, who voted for seeing Ian McKellen as Yoda's Jedi Master in a young Yoda movie.
Dressed as Gandalf.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes my head spin in a good way.
With a
How many
Magneto
Stallones
X.
did you get?
I didn't get any Stallones. I'm sorry, JT.
Well, you got one,
Come
but
on,
it was
people.
Frank.
Yeah,
Frank.
Frank
Oh.
Stallone, exactly.
Throw him a bone. Why not?
And the other shout out I wanted to do is for Mary Sharp, who said she wanted to see Jack Gleason, who played Joffrey on Game of Thrones, play young Palpatine.
What?
Whoa,
That's almost
right?
two on the nose.
Yeah.
That's almost
It's
two on the nose.
disturbing.
guys.
It's like him and Draco Malfoy. They're always going to be like the same, getting the same parts.
Yes, that same level of evil.
Yeah.
So this week's Duel of the Fates question that I'll pose to you guys, and then I'll put up on the Facebook page tomorrow, Tuesday. Should the Wilhelm Scream be used in the new Star Wars movies?
Yes, all kinds of yes, always,
So
and
yes.
forever, yes.
Audrey says yes.
Yeah, I feel like it has to, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Why not? It's not like it's going to be distracting. It's
Even in a gritty war movie, you
Right.
want a
Are
quick...
you talking about Rogue One, or are you talking
Rogue
about
One, like in all
Oh.
the Star Wars movies, should it always
kidding
be
me?
there?
They
Yeah.
use it in all the Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, they use it
Listen.
in everything.
If there's phasers
Yeah.
going off and people are falling down dying, why not? Of course. It's a no-brainer.
Okay, why don't you all give me a Wilhelm Scream? JT, give me your best Wilhelm Scream.
I don't know.
That would be great if it actually ended with,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Audrey, can you do yours again?
That's
Tony?
a little better than mine.
Excellent. So we're going to wrap up today's show on that wonderful screaming note. I would like you guys to tell people your social media and anything you'd like to plug. Tony, where can people find you?
Love it.
TonyThaxton.com has all the stuff for all of my different podcasts and music and all that stuff. I currently play in a band called The Pride of Your EPA. We are going to be playing September 5th, which is the day before my birthday, also.
Nice.
At the Steve Allen Theater.
Oh, I like that
Awesome.
place.
That's wonderful.
That's a nice place.
Audrey?
Please check out geekgirlauthority.com, and we're on Twitter at geekgirloff. And then on Twitter for me is at Audrey Kearns, it's KEA, and Neil Before Odd. And then for my Five Truths and Lies show, I'm going to be at DragonCon in a couple weeks, and you're going to be there
I'll
too.
be at DragonCon.
We've got a really great show. In fact, we're on a panel together. I just got a confirmation.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
Yes, it'll be great. Comedy and podcasting.
Yes.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
All right, JT.
Catch me on Twitter at schmoesjte. I do a show right before this called Box Office Breakdown, where we break out the box office numbers every Monday. Also, check me out on JT Movie Things on iTunes and YouTube. That's my own podcast where we just talk movies. You're going to be on my show.
I am.
Well,
yes.
Joseph's going to be on the show very soon, everybody.
I'm going to be
watch
on
that.
all your things.
Also, Schmoes Know main show every Thursday, 6 to 8 live on Schmoes Know podcast and schmoesknow.com. You can find it pretty much everywhere. That's basically it.
Excellent. I'm Joseph Scrimshaw. You can find me on social medias, all of them at Joseph Scrimshaw. I'll be at DragonCon doing a bunch of shows and panels, and then I'm going on tour on the East Coast with my friends the Double Clicks and Molly Lewis. I'm also putting an album up, a comedy EP up for pre-order tomorrow, and then it will be fully released on Tuesday, September 1st. And it is a comedy EP, a live recording of a show I did about Star Wars at a convention in Minneapolis called Convergence. So it is chock full of Star Wars jokes. You can find out about that album. It's called Rebel Scum.
Star Wars comedy, I like it.
And that album is, you can find it on my website at josephscrimshaw.com. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, it was a blast.
And you guys in the audience, thank you for watching and or listening to Jedi Alliance. You can watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. You can catch the Jedi Alliance on iTunes. Please rate and review us there. You can also visit popcorntalknetwork.com to find a nice list of all the past episodes of Jedi Alliance. Look up the episode that JT was on and remind him what he was talking about on that, and see how many times he talked about Stallone on that one. You can find links to all the past episodes of Jedi Alliance on both iTunes and YouTube by going to popcorntalknetwork.com. Please also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Jedi Alliance for all the us-related news. This has been Jedi Alliance on the Popcorn Talk Network. We talk movies. Thank you for listening, because many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Classic outro.
Deeply.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.